What's up, guys? This is Jakob. I'm content AI manager and host of Web3 Live Show, where we interview guests and experts around the world who are, experts and thought leaders within their space, within Web3 space. I'm the host and I'm the founder of Content AI Tools, which is a platform where AI companies can hire us, where we test your products and your services. I'm very excited to speak with Vadim Keff. He's the co-founder of NUBI and T7T Blockchain Lab. He has a background in computer science and finance, and he's the first, and so far the first and the only one who has an MBA, who's an MBA graduate from MIT. So very excited. Welcome to the show, Vadim. How are you doing?
Hi. Good to see you.
Okay. Awesome that you're here. So before we jump into the topic of Web3 and also DeFi and what NUBI is exactly doing, can you give us a short intro about yourself? So I made an intro, but can you introduce yourself in a nutshell?
Absolutely, yeah. So I was born in Ukraine, and then I kind of studied in Germany and London for a while. And so my career, I studied computer science, and so my early work was around coding, some PHP, HTML, and things like that. And then I went to finance and worked there for about 10 years. I did corporate finance and private equity, basically buying and selling companies along the way. And then I was really curious to figure out what's the way to build companies. How do you actually use your skills in marketing, legal, business, and how can you actually build a company? And so I went to the US because I thought that US has the biggest ecosystem of founders and the most experience in starting companies. Kind of serial entrepreneurship. And I went to MIT because I really liked the technical angle of it, and then I started building after that.
Okay, awesome. And you said you thought that the US has the biggest ecosystem. Did it approve? So it has, or is it not? Or what was your experience?
When I started, when I was in Boston, I was actually super surprised by the number of people who had a second company, a third company, people who were really willing to help and provide advice and support just to share their experience because they as founders have gone through this journey, a tough journey of starting a company, and they were willing to really engage and find some time in their schedule to give to you because they saw this as a way of kind of paying back.
Awesome. So the answer is yes.
The answer is yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah, the answer is totally yes.
Yes. Okay. Cool. Just wanted to follow up because I was super curious. Okay. Cool. So one question that I oftentimes ask in this show is, how do you define Web3? So we have a lot of buzz around Web3. You hear all these keywords: metaverse, NFTs is coming out, blockchain, and I mean it's an whole ecosystem. So what is your definition of Web3? How do you explain it to students or to people from kindergarten or something?
Yeah, I've been asked this a lot by people who are not engaged in blockchain at all. And so the way I explain usually is that we have internet and Web 2. Internet is a way that connects us and lets us exchange goods and services. Now we have a blockchain. Blockchain is effectively like a distributed database. It's a way how you can store data reliably without one party controlling the storage. So the applications that we're looking around blockchain are all around, okay, we now have this beautiful, secure database. We've tested for the last 12 years pretty much that this distributed way of storing information is secure. You can't hack it. We can rely upon it. And so now we are looking at applications of using this distributed secure database to exchange goods and services.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the main focus is here decentralized because it makes it more secure and more safe, right, for transactions.
So the main idea there is that the main idea is the database that is not stored in one place.
Yeah.
Storing a database in one place has its negatives. People can hack it and delete your database and stuff like this, and interfere with the database. So some party that is controlling the database can extract power over you because they control the database. But now we have a database that is decentralized.
Yeah, got it. Okay. And when you look back, was there one moment or moments maybe in your life where you realized, okay, this whole Web3 thing, I have to invest my time, I have to invest my resources, my money into it because this is going to be big? Was there a defining moment in your career?
I think for me it was a no-brainer because I have background in computer science and finance both. So I really understood blockchain. It was easy for me to understand both the product side of it and also the coding side of it, because I can, I understand code, I can read code, I can write code and stuff like this. And this was this kind of thing that I've learned over my entrepreneurial journey, that for you to be building successfully, you kind of need to be a match to the thing that you're doing, right? You have to have enough expertise and skills to be able to execute on the product that you're building. And so for me, this was one of those, oh my God, this is incredible. I can apply everything I know in one place. And so that's why it was a very easy switch for me.
Okay, that's cool. Awesome. Okay, let's talk a little bit about NUBI. So what exactly is NUBI? Can you explain this?
Yeah, so sure. We are in early stage, right? So we are at the kind of an MVP stage of building the product, and that's why we can give you the description of where we are, the problem we're solving, and the way we think about this problem. I will not be able to give you exact functionalities one by one of the product, because right now we've gone through customer interviews and we've identified pain points. Now we are building a prototype and the MVP to test these pain points and to really see that the users want to use this product. So it's a bit early on for us to really talk about all the functionalities, but NUBI is an investment platform for Web3. And basically the way we think about it is that, we have these new digital assets, tokens, NFTs. We're tokenizing a lot of stuff right now on Web3. And so to deal with all of those digital assets, you need to have a platform and tools to be able to, invest easily, see all the dashboards in one place, ability to, have an accounting of those positions and things like that. So for you to be able to do all of that, you have to have a new set of tools that are specifically tailored to Web3. And that's what we're looking at right now. That's what we're building right now. And as we're building this, we're also mindful that, what Web3 lets you do is that people can now partner together and invest together in projects. And Web3 gives them those tools so they can easily come together, build like one vehicle to do something on Web3. And now they can very easily, invest together, pool their capital and invest together. And so we are really excited about this whole new level of companies that are, or SPVs or investment DAOs, people call them sometimes, that are being built for people to invest in Web3 assets and on-chain assets, and soon in off-chain assets as well.
Okay, so can you speak a little bit about these assets? So for example, coins. So I created my own coin, for example, and I can partner up with somebody who also has a coin, and we can create something like a crowdfunding or something. Is that what you mean?
So one of the ways to do this is that people have invested, especially over the last 10, 15 years, a lot together. And more people are partnering up. They combine their expertise. I've done this. My friends have done this. They combine their expertise, and they start investing together, right? They discuss the project, and then they deploy money. And those assets are right now mostly Web3 assets, and those are tokens, various tokens of companies, and NFTs, right? Sometimes people go into things like metaverse assets on pieces of land or stuff like this. More and more, it's NFTs and tokens. But also people are experimenting more and more with going into off-chain assets. When you still form this investment vehicle together in on-chain, but the assets that you're buying are off-chain. This can be a real estate project, or you start some business opportunity or something like this.
So just to make it clear, off-chain assets are real, so tangible things that I can touch in the real world, not in the digital world, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, like you probably have heard about DAOs buying like a constitution, yes, or real estate and things like that. So those are like off-chain, non-digital, real-world assets.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Cool. And before we went live, you spoke about you speak with a lot of people, and you hear their struggle that they have. Can we speak a little bit about that? So what kind of problems do these people have? So especially when it comes to financing, or what is it that they struggle with?
I wouldn't say it's a struggle, but I would say that right now, when the market kind of enters a calm period in crypto, a lot of people are starting looking at really building business models that are viable. You have to, when you build a product, you really have to see how does this product create value for your customers, and whether this product can generate a return and be profitable. And because Web3 has been developing so fast, and in Web3 you see a lot of engineering teams. Sometimes people do not have that focus, and sometimes people don't have that expertise even on board to really do that customer discovery, really look at the product, really think deeply, what is my business model? How does my business model generate revenue, and can I be profitable, right? And so that's what this is what is in my mind happening a lot right now, and this is what I think people should be doing more and more, especially in this kind of colder market, to really build around customer and think, where can I apply blockchain in a way that it can be better to what people are currently using?
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of buzz, but the basics are still, the fundamentals are still true. So what problem are you solving, so to say? So what is it that, how are you helping people with your product or service? I think that's the key that we all should focus on. But we oftentimes, this is a thing of entrepreneurship, I think, we fall in love with our own idea, with our baby, and then forget to get feedback and forget to iterate. Yeah, I think that's human nature to some degree.
Yeah, and there's one more thing to this, is because in Web3 you see a lot of engineering teams, because the way how this industry is developing is it's driven a lot by engineering teams.
Yeah,
and in engineering teams, sometimes you have this lack of product experience, and so people really get excited about the way they think about a product or an idea they've got in their mind, and they forget to test it with users. And it's very important. I fully agree with what you said.
Yeah.
I can also share the way we build our product, because we are at this customer discovery stage and stuff like this. It might be interesting to some startup founders as well, if you want it. Sure. Okay. So I think there's a bit of there are the few tips that I can give that have been proven not by me. This is something that I've picked up from various accelerators, and incubators and people who build companies, serial entrepreneurs. And so the thing number one is that when you test your hypothesis, it's enough if you speak usually to about 5 to 7 people for you to get a bit of an idea of a trend of whether this idea or hypothesis that you have in your mind makes sense, right? When you focus on solving this pinpoint the problem, you really need to figure out, when you talk to people, that when they talk about a problem, that is a really top of their mind problem, something that they're very, very much concerned about, something that is a pain point, something that they are like, oh my God, we really want you to help us to fix this, something that they are really excited for you to fix. And we were going through this customer discovery, we saw those problems that were not a real pain points, for example, and then those problems that were a real pain points. And I can give you an example of a problem that was not a real pain point.
Yeah.
Right. So we had this hypothesis that a secondary market for tokens, soft agreements, can be a really great idea. Something where people can, it totally made sense. It was like, okay, well, you saying a soft, and a soft is, I don't know how much you know about, but this is an agreement for future tokens. And so usually this agreement promises you tokens in the future. Sometimes it will take you a year or two until you get those tokens. Even when you start getting those tokens, very often those tokens will be vested to you over time. So you start getting them in bunches, right? In batches. And so we were like, oh my God, well, you're sitting this investment, and you might want to sell earlier on because you need money, or you think that the price is right. We even heard from some people that they were excited about this idea. They were like, oh, this sounds like a great idea. I'd love to do this, they said, for example, right? We had several founders or even the C firms. They were like, oh, actually sounds really interesting. I would do this. And we got really excited, and we started building like a small prototype around this, like a Figma page where we draw like a landing page. On this landing page, we describe the key functionalities, and then we gave it back to those people. And as we started giving it back to those people, we were like, do you want it? Like, take this product. Do you want this product?
Yeah.
And we started getting feedback that they were like, oh, I like it, but I'm not sure.
It's not that urgent.
It's not that urgent. Like, they were like, it was a bit harder to get hold of people. They were like, they see the picture, and then they were like not really responsive or something like this. You could feel and you could see that was not a real pain point.
Yeah. Okay, got it.
So we really put that idea on hold, and we usually iterate at a 2-week sprint, where we go from a hypothesis, then from customer interviews, identification of pain points, drawing a prototype, showing that prototype to people, and then coming back and deciding whether we proceed or we not proceed.
Okay, so based on the feedback, you're deciding based on the feedback from the prototype, or how do you decide?
Yes, we decided that once we built this one page using Figma. Figma is a fantastic instrument to draw prototypes and websites and stuff. And so we've built like one page. We gave them, and we collected feedback. We literally interviewed them, sent it to them, and said, okay, do you want it? Like if you want it, or if you don't want it, why? And stuff like this. And we asked them. We asked again about 7 people, I think we asked. And the trend was clear. They liked it, but they were not very excited about it. It was not a real pain point.
Yeah. So pretty time consuming, right? I mean, it's only 2 weeks, but it's half a month, you can say. You can see it also that way. And then is there something? I just thinking about. Okay, some projects are executed, and then people are interested, and the ones that are on hold, what are happening? Is there a process what you do with them, or are they just recycled?
We've put it in hold. We've put it on hold, and we don't put attention to it. But it's also don't forget. I mean, if we started to develop this, it would have been so much manpower in terms of development and structuring and building, and then this disappointing of building a product and then not seeing it being used. So it's much better from my point of view to invest the 2 weeks to just really test the pain point and how much of this product is needed, and then before you even start coding anything.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. That's cool. Really like it. So you have a lot of developers in your team and code people, or how is your team structured?
Almost, we are 9 people right now, and we are 5 engineers, actually 6 engineers, with 4 engineers focused on just developing, just coding. We have 2 PhDs, Very strong team. We have expertise in Rust and Solidity, and kind of cross-chain as well. We've built on Solana, on Near, on Avalanche. That is like like blockchain on top of Near.
Yeah. Awesome.
And Polygon. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. That's cool. So yeah, it just that's already a lot of details about the company. Maybe when we make one step back and speak about, so one thing that I always get is the differences between Web 2 and Web 3. So what is, in your opinion, because I got this all the time, people look at me and say, what is this? Why should I invest my time and money into Web 3? So what is, in your opinion, the biggest difference between Web 2 and Web 3?
Web 3 allows you to do transactions that were not, let me dial back, right, and come back to this very important point of, in Web 3 you can build a distributed database.
Yeah.
Right. Well, distributed databases. Now let's have a look at this at the sectors where distributed databases are used, and so which we can disrupt. Right.
Yeah.
Distributed databases are centralized databases. So centralized databases are used, for example, in finance, because any bank or financial institution in nothing more than just an Excel table that is, protected and secured and guarded and managed by this huge organization that is built on top of that Excel table.
Yeah.
In essence, that is just a database that has a recording of what your assets are, or what your transactions are, and stuff like this. Mm-hmm. And so these organizations have been built on top to manage those Excel tables, right? If you need to send money from your bank account to another bank account, then it's one organization managing your Excel table and another organization managing another Excel table, talk to each other and agree to make an entry, in your Excel table and another Excel table. That's always happens, right? And so we have this whole industry around the databases. But now, suddenly, we can do the same transactions that we did before, and where we required those huge organizations, we can do them now directly, right? We can use blockchain as the database where that information can be stored securely, reliably, and so now we can make that exchange between ourselves cheaper, because we don't have to pay that organization for controlling and storing that Excel table.
Yeah.
So you asked me, your question is really, what is the difference between Web 2 and Web 3, right? So Web 2 does not allow this distributed storage of information. Web 2 allows centralized storage of information, right? It's internet connecting people and allowing to transact between each other. And that was great for certain sectors, such as, for example, travel sector, retail sector, because we were able to connect to people in other cities, countries, and buy products from them without having to physically see them. That was amazing, right? Web 3 allows us to now move money between people in different locations directly, and or trade directly without having to have institutions on top of that.
Yes.
I'll add one more thing about this, is that Web3 is also like this decentralized storage database, let's say, right? Combined with with digital assets, so that now we can digitize assets, we can digitize ownership of things, we can digitize pretty much anything. That, for example, has another very interesting application in the media sector, in the ownership sector, right? Because if you were producing content in one form or another before, you needed a platform or a system that would take your content and then distribute it to somebody else.
Yes.
And then you needed that system to track who is using your product, how much they used your product, and you needed that platform to take that platform, then took money, collected that money, and that took their cut, and then gave you only a part of what was remaining. But now, if in Web3, if you don't need a one secured system to store, now you can store your data on blockchain. Now users can directly talk to you. Now users can consume your content directly and pay you directly. And, and now you can attach to your NFT or your digital ownership certificate. Let's call it digital ownership certificate as NFT, right? You can attach such a function that every time your product is consumed, the system will automatically deduct the royalty, whatever it is, 5%, 10%, whatever you set it to be, and automatically, without any other party having to interfere, send it to your account. This is incredible for for the media industry, for ownership rights and things like that.
Yeah, happy that you mentioned the content example, because I'm also a content guy. So that's also why I launched my own coin now, the AI coin, and founded content AI tools, basically. So to reward activity like content creation, that's something that you can do now with your coin economy, with your own Web3 project, which is amazing. Yeah, and the blockchain and smart contract. I mean, I'm not a blockchain developer or something. Everything is in the back end, and the tool that I'm using takes charge. Is in charge of that one. I'm just the organizer. I'm orchestrating everything, bringing people, onboarding people, and then the reward system is pretty easy to handle. And I think that's the beauty. That's but I also think that many people are not just aware of this, that you don't have to be a developer, that more and more companies are coming who can be in charge of this. And it's a very interesting development. Yeah.
What tools? You're using some tools that help you to just upload your content and get your digital NFT on top of that content and distribute it? You use some platforms like?
No, not NFTs, but coin. So I use coins. I use Tri-Roll. I can just write it down. These guys are amazing. They just a second here. That's the one that I'm using. I mean, there are many out there, but this is the one that I used now so far for my own coin. There's also Rally.io, I think, which is also a good platform. And yeah, that's especially for creators interesting. But back to your point, it's we live in very exciting times, because through this blockchain technology, the middleman is his role is becoming smaller, and that's exciting for us creators, but also for people who want the direct communication like you wanted. Yeah, that's awesome.
There's another benefit of this. I agree with what you said, but there's another benefit of this is that, imagine for a second that, you had the centralized database, right? These companies have built, those databases, they're controlling them, they secure them. These are assets of those companies, right? But now you have this open database. And so now anybody can come in and build an application on top of this database. Right. Yeah. So just by giving an example of YouTube, which is in no particular order, and just one platform that streams your content in a centralized way, right? So now you can actually build your YouTube on blockchain and have your own database, right? And and so that facilitates competition, and competition reduces prices. So that's direct benefit to this to consumers and to users.
Yeah. Don't you think? I mean, this is not a typical question that I'm asking, but these middlemen, are they nervous? Are they just scared of Web3? What is your opinion? Or maybe some people who are in this middleman function and are a little scared of all these kind of projects?
Well, it depends on the sector, but I think everybody is. The company. This is natural. This is a natural cycle of innovation for companies. Is that companies, first they find some form of a product that is better than on the market, right? Then they build around this product, they gain their consumers, but then they face competition just the way they gained market share. Then they face competition from new technologies, right? Yeah. So the way companies usually deal with this is that they start looking and they start building their internal teams, and they start to try to compete. They start to create their own products. But very often, those large organizations are not as entrepreneurial as small guys are. Like, imagine for a second how hungry and how motivated is a team of developers, people who are good in developing software, and now they can see that they can build this really nice, interesting product, and they don't need anything. They can just launch it straight away, and the market will see it and will use it right there, right away, right? They will immediately see the users and their reactions, and people can immediately monetize their products. I mean, this is incredibly exciting for those teams, right? So now this large organization would be competing with those guys who are super hungry, super motivated, and this organization that is has a lot of money, a lot of resources, but might be not as hungry and not as fast as those guys. And so that's natural when a new technology comes in. Those processes come again and again all the time.
It's a cycle. Everything history repeats itself. Okay, awesome. So when you hear Web3, so I mean, we're consuming a lot of media. Do you hear some misconceptions about Web3 that make you sad or angry or something that you would love to tackle? Is there something?
They don't make me angry or sad, but by one point I want to pick up, right?
Okay.
And it tails back to what I said before about business models.
Okay.
Is that sometimes people confuse, in my mind, in my view, that decentralization is a benefit in its own, right? And I think we should be very, very smart about that. Is that decentralization still needs an application. You still need to figure out an application, how you use blockchain, and how that product that you use is better than the product that is on the market right now. Right? Let me refer back to the courses that I took at MIT, but I think it's a very simple and very clear example of how innovation happens, right? And so the two main ways how innovation happens, right? How can you create a product? Is that you either reduce cost or you improve customer experience. Right?
Yeah.
So if you, I give this example of Ford and electric and engine cars back in the days, right, 100 years ago, right? And so Ford used the technology. The technology was the producing line, right? The machine. That there was a machine, and that machine was able to produce cars very fast, right? As a technology, right? And so that by using that technology, Ford was able to produce cars. They were cheaper. They were not expensive. They were really for the masses, and so people were able to buy those cars and use them because they were really convenient way to deal. And so he used the technology, the mass production line, to create a product that was cheap and was acceptable by the masses. They started using it and they loved it, right? But at the same time, those cars were really hard in operations because you had to constantly start that car, and the engine was not working. You had to come up front and start the engine, and you had the smell, and it was not a very nice to use car. But you had electric cars, and electric cars were quiet. They did not have smell. They were easy to start. They were nice. They were really good. And so people started focusing on those cars to create a better experience. And so they started attracting a crowd that was more looking for a better product. Like, okay, how can I actually have a better experience when I drive? How do I get rid of noise? How can I don't have the smell? But those cars were much more expensive. They were $1,200 at that time, or $1,000 at that time. So 3, 4, 5 times more expensive. But they improved consumer experience, and there was a group of consumers they were willing to pay for that.
Yeah, makes sense. Totally.
And so,
I mean, yeah.
And so when I dial back this to blockchain, right? So I'm saying, okay, well, now we will really need to think hard and smart about how does this technology, when applied, can either reduce cost or improve customer experience.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense. So improve customer experience or add value. I mean, this could be another expression how to say it. So adding value to the customer, basically. But yeah, customer experience. Okay, yeah, makes sense. It's cool. Like that one. Cool. So what are your plans for the coming 1, 2, 3 years when it comes to NUBI? What is on the roadmap? What are your plans? What is the big vision?
So the way we think about this is that we want to help creation of millions of businesses around the world, right? We are really focused on solving this issue of how can we foster entrepreneurship, creation of businesses, investing into products. How can we make it simpler, easier for people to do? How can we apply those tools that are available on blockchain so that seamless process for people, right? That becomes really easy. And so this is our plan and strategy. That's the direction we are going. And the plan for us is that we are building around customer needs. And so as we've gone through, as I said, several rounds of customer interviews, we identified first pain points. We're now going to be building around those pain points. As we build further, we will learn about other needs and necessities of our customers, and we'll start expanding the product.
Awesome. That's great. So, yeah, I think so. Financing is a big issue. I gave a speak about content AI in one Singapore organization, an online speech. And they have good ideas. They are willing to invest and stay up all night and put the effort into the product. But one main struggle that comes always is financing. So how to finance the product, the idea, because oftentimes it means investing in product development and having no VC or something. And yeah, that's one main thing, in my opinion, that all entrepreneurs, especially at the beginning in the startup phase, have.
Yeah, let me pick up on this because I see this a lot in various teams. If you are an engineering team, very often you can actually build part-time.
Yeah.
There's a perception in a way that you need to take money straight away, and that's the you and sometimes people judge their success on the basis of their ability to fundraise early on.
Yeah.
But in the end of the day, what matters is your product, right? Whether people use your product and whether that product is needed, and it really solves the problem. And if you build a product that is needed, then you will not have any troubles financing it. People, you'll be surrounded by investors who will be willing to throw money at you. Yeah. So I would just say, and especially with engineering teams, is that you can spend some time on top of your daily job and build something simple, try it on your users, talk to your users, and test on early on whether there's a demand or not, or find something where there's a big demand, and then go for financing, or even build a prototype and then go for financing, and then you will have no issue. I'm sure about that. Okay. It depends on the market where you are, but with blockchain you can access global market, and so you'll need to knock on doors and really show your product, but you will not have issues.
Yeah. Okay. So the investor thing is one great topic. So basically, making sure that your product is needed and you're solving a problem. But what is there something else? So what is we see attracted to when it comes to crypto these days? So or Web3 projects. What are they looking for? Is there something especially interesting or that you have in mind when it comes to VCs?
The projects right now, there's a few things that I see, right? Is that people are figuring out business models, right? And trying to really build business models that work. That requires quite a lot of expertise, actually. And the recommendation is there maybe to get some product or business people on board early on to go through this process of like building a business model in a smart, organized way.
Yeah. Okay. So this means basically hire a good team, find the right people that accomplish or help you with your gaps.
Well,
basically.
Let me reiterate this and says that a lot of teams in Web3 are engineering teams.
Yeah, okay,
and very often those teams are confident that they can build because they can build, right? They can actually sit down and build a product, and that product will work. Yeah. And sometimes it gives an illusion that, hey, we've built this product and it works. Look, you can click on it, you can log in, you can even do something with it, right? Well, amazing. But at the same time, it's not straightforward now to make a business out of this, right? How do you actually apply this in a way that it generates money, it's profitable, it solves the problem? And so that's why I'm stressing this point. Just because in Web3, you have so many engineering teams that are illusional maybe sometimes that, they get it under control.
Okay, got it. And that's the importance of content, my friend, that you have to create content on a regular basis and build your fan base and your community, which gives you feedback on your product. They are straightforward. They say, I don't get it. That's also something that I'm seeing on AI companies. I mean, I love these products and I'm using them, but oftentimes they miss the community side. So they create these awesome products that can create content for you, but the usability is not that good, or things are missing. And if you have a community that gives on a regular basis feedback on sprints, then you can iterate faster and produce better products.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's another story.
Building around customer. That's all.
Yeah, honestly. So these shows that I'm also creating, honestly, interviewing people and speaking with these CEOs just gives me ideas, and also the talks after the interview gives me ideas for coming products. That's the reason why I started this AI coin, because I realized what these AI companies need are testers who give feedback for their company, for their products. That was the whole idea. So yeah, it's not about me. It's about you.
No. That is good. That's very good. No, this is a great example of, you talk to a few AI companies. You are this is a great example, to be honest. And let me just focus on it for a minute, right?
Yeah.
This is an amazing example of when you are in the industry, right? You were dealing with AI companies. You've been talking to a lot of AI companies, and on the basis of you dealing with them, you've learned something about their issue. And then you're starting looking for ways to solve this issue, right? And then you applied blockchain as a technology to solve their issue. And so that's amazing. That's in my mind, this is the right way to go about it.
Yeah. So that's why I love content, because this is the co-creation part. We are speaking and creating together content. I get ideas, and then I have to follow those ideas. I'm just it's not like that I'm speaking with one guy and then I have this idea. It's just it's compelling. I'm interviewing these people, and then I'm connecting the dots, and I'm seeing, okay, this is the missing picture, so to say. Yeah.
Amazing. That's I love also, it would be interesting if you had your blog or something to share your observations.
Sure.
And your summary of those thoughts, because those are very, very interesting thoughts, and not many people have this ability to have a visibility, and it will help to people in Web3 because it's a sector that is rapidly developing, and so many things are changing. It's helpful to see an overview of what's going on, and thoughts of people who are deeply in this sector.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Vadim, when people want to work with you, do a sprint, or want to know more about you and your company, where should they go?
We have a Twitter.
Cool.
So it's Meet NUBI on Twitter. We have a Telegram channel as well, in T70 Labs and Telegram, and just reach out anytime on our website meetnubi.io. You can find our contact details and all the details about the team and everything like this. Just reach out. We'll be happy to talk to people who are either building and need some help, or people that are building investment communities and want to use our platform. Super helpful.
Yeah.
We are very reachable.
Cool, that's awesome. I will definitely check out Telegram because I use it also very often. That's cool. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for your time.
Thanks so much for your time.
Is there something that you want to add, or something that we didn't spoke about?
Focus on customers, build. That's all.
Execute. Okay, guys. Thanks for watching. If there are any questions, just let us know in the comment section. I will forward it to Vadim. And thanks for watching, and see you next time.
Thanks, everybody. Talk to you. Bye-bye. Bye.